loves, and welcome back to the Siren's Library. Today I'm going to be doing a reading vlog for the Divine Rivals book, which has been highly recommended on TikTok. For those who have finished Fourth Wing, it's kind of going a little bit viral right now as far as like a recommended book, a really good read. It's an enemies to lovers. It has to do with writing, if I'm not mistaken. I don't know too much of the plot itself, but it is a romance. I think it's a fantasy romance, if I'm not mistaken. But we're gonna start it. I'm gonna be using my Kindle because my library, usually like if my library has it, or it's an audiobook format or whatever, I will use it through my library, but my library doesn't have it right now, so I'm going to be reading it from Kindle, and I have Kindle Unlimited, so that's what we're doing today. I have my coffee ready, and yeah, I'll let you guys know how I feel about it. It's supposed to be really good. 20% in so far. It says I have 6 hours and 9 minutes left in the book. I read pretty fast though. It's only been probably like an hour and a half since I started. So yeah, so far I'm really enjoying it. I just had to stop to make a smoothie and a sandwich because I needed to eat something. So far the world building is really cool. I like the lore with the different gods, and I want to see where it goes. I also love the wardrobe communication magic that's going on between them. It's interesting that like he knows that it's her sending the messages, but she doesn't. So far is interesting, and I want to see if the offer of the rival newspaper, if it gets taken by one of them. I also want to see if he's gonna get married. Obviously, I don't think he's gonna get married. There's no way. Like, he apparently got engaged. Okay, so I said this wasn't gonna be a spoiler-free reading vlog, but I guess I'm just like thinking out loud of the different pieces that are like standing out to me, so I'm sorry. If you haven't read it though, I don't think anything I'm saying is gonna make sense, but so far it's really interesting. I really love the writing dynamic, and I love the like going to the library, missing pieces in the like there's mystery, there's hidden stuff in here. So yeah, I'm gonna keep reading. I'm just gonna take a eating break and I will keep you guys posted. No, just no. I'm at the 49% mark. I'm trying not to give spoilers because this page is definitely, oh my god. Oh my god. Is this a spoiler-free? I don't know if this can be a spoiler-free review no more. I'm trying so hard not to talk about it, but let's just say I am shooketh at what just happened. I don't even know what to say. He had wrote her a letter saying that it would be a while till he would get to talk to her. And then he does a very like unexpected thing, because I didn't kind of see that coming. I was like wondering, oh, like where are you going that you're not gonna be able to write to her, since they have like this magical typewriter that they can communicate with each other wherever they go. And now it's like, I know why, but this is so like, what? I'm sorry. Anyway, I needed a moment. I'm sorry if that was a spoiler in some way. Go read the book. It is really good. It definitely sucks you in. Also, by the way, it is nighttime. I had a bunch of calls and meetings, and I didn't get to be consistent, or else I think I would have only had like an hour left, honestly, to read. My Kindle says I have 3 hours and 29 minutes left in the book. I'm about to reach the 50% mark, but so far I am really enjoying it. The world building is really interesting. Everything so far is really interesting. It definitely has a different pace. I can see why people are recommending it like to read after Fourth Wing, because that's what people are saying. But Fourth Wing has a faster pace than this. Granted, I did listen to no, it does have a faster pace. I listened to the Fourth Wing audiobook, and I read the book, the EPUB as well, digitally, and it is just a faster read. It's a faster kind of read. This just has a slower pace to it, but is a really nice pace, and is really easy to just, it's very poetic. I'm really enjoying it. Really enjoying it so far. Good things. Update, I am 61% in. I have just finished mopping most of the house. I just need to finish the main bedroom. I'm going to throw myself into the shower after I finish mopping, and then I'm going to finish this. It is, I believe, 12:16 a.m. Okay, 12:16 a.m. And I'm a night owl, so this is nothing. I will definitely be finishing this book tonight, and I will give y'all an update. Hopefully not in the morning, but yeah, we'll see. So far, things are getting interesting. The love story is definitely developing very slowly. It's a slow burn, but I love slow burn. So I'm waiting for the moment where she realizes who he is, because it's gonna be iconic. Oh my god. This escalated to a place that I was not thinking it was gonna go. Oh my, what does one say to this? This is like, their relationship literally went from like almost 0 to 10,000. I don't even know how to explain this, because I'm not trying to like give spoilers, but like, what? So I'm at the scene where they're like walking up the hill, really trying not to give spoilers. And then they're having this conversation after they catch up from coming from a certain place. Literally not trying to give spoilers. And they're having this conversation, and I'm literally so surprised that this went where it was going. I was not thinking it was gonna go straight into what it is now. I am 74%. I can't show you the page because it's a spoiler. Anyway, I am on the way to the library to drop off these 2 books, and I'm gonna give y'all an update on Divine Rivals. I have a lot to say. Okay, I know it's the next day. I didn't get a moment to film this earlier, but I finished Divine Rivals and I have thoughts. Okay, so I'm gonna give you like my mini review of the book. So as far as stars go, I gave it a 4 out of 5. I was really enjoying it. The first 2/3 of the book are really well. The pacing is well. There's definitely a slow burn because it is a fantasy romance. But then for some reason, the last chunk of the book, I felt like was a little bit sloppy. There's a lot of important stuff that happens towards that part of the book, and it tends to be the part where it's like certain things are rising in the climax, but also certain things have to be tied up because we're coming to the end of the book. But I felt the way that it was executed was not the best. It kind of lost me a little bit in the last part, because there was like this almost like couple chapters that were very, very romance based, which is, again, it has to happen. But the way it was done, I totally forgot that the war was happening. I thought, especially the issues between the god and goddess that we're seeing go, back and forth, the reason why the war is even happening, I totally lost sight of that towards that last part of the book. It felt like slightly an afterthought, and then it became important in literally the last chapter, or the epilogue, you could say. And it just, I'm trying to make this a not spoiler review, but it was just like, I felt like the what happened, where Iris was, how she was taken, how there was just this dismissiveness about, the fact that she was witnessed getting married, and it was just like the day before, like literally the night before. And then it was just dismissed, and it was just like, no, I'm just taking you alone. I don't care about anybody else, and I'm just taking you alone. It just felt so frustrating. It felt very dismissive. It felt like it was used, that moment was used as a way to kind of separate them. And it's so funny to me because in the front of the book, it literally says, the cover says, nothing can come between them, but literally that's what happens in this book. So there is something that comes between them, and it's just really frustrating. The romance was beautiful. I really loved Roman's arc, and like the declarations. It was very poetic. It's very beautifully written, but I just felt like the last part of the book didn't hit the way it needed to hit. It wasn't tied together, and even though it was left at a cliffhanger, I feel like it could have been better executed. It left me feeling irritated and annoyed with the way it was going and with what happened at the end. It was just, it was a little bit disappointing. I felt like it could have been done better and still had what happened, but it could have just been better. And I didn't need to be reminded about the part of the war being such a, you know, a destructive part, like just right at the end. It felt like through parts of the book, as she went into, you know, deeper into kind of like seeing and being present within the wars, it's I'm literally trying to make this as spoiler free as possible. I'm sorry if I'm not making sense, but it just felt like she got to see some things, but it never tied deeper into the gods and goddesses, the issue at hand. There were like certain hints to it, but it was like, you know, when it's like when you're focused on the battle but not the war, it was mainly focused on the battle but not the war. And I totally forgot about the whole war aspect and who's the problem and why, because it kept focusing on those smaller moments and it wasn't digging deep enough into the issue between the gods and goddesses, which was something that was highlighted in the beginning when she was trying to do more research and looking at information for them. So that part kind of, again, I got lost, where it's like I lost the vision of the point of the war, because the hyper focused energy was more on the battles. And the other issue that I'm having with it is the description for the second book. If you go on Goodreads and you look at the description for book 2 that's coming out next year in April, it literally says, so I guess this will be the one spoiler that you get from this video. Like, this is the one thing I will say, and it's the reason why I'm saying it is because this is one of the frustrating parts that I had reading this towards, like, and this is what I mean by the writing is sloppy. The description of the second book says that Roman starts receiving messages, like the part of the plot of the first book of Divine Rivals is that they are able to communicate due to these magic typewriters, that there's only 3 in existence. In the end of the book, she abandoned, like, her typewriter and his typewriter is in the house, and she gets taken, so she doesn't have her typewriter, and then she gets dragged back home. So she doesn't have her typewriter. The 3rd typewriter is in a museum. Not to give like the ending away, but Roman would still have access to his typewriter technically, and you could see that with the description of the second book, but she doesn't have access to her typewriter. So why would the description of the second book be he starts getting he loses his memory, and he starts getting these messages through the whole typewriter situation, and that's what brings them together again, apparently, in the second book. But in my head, I'm like, hello, you didn't have her take her typewriter. It was too heavy to carry. She didn't have anything with her. So how does she access? Is she gonna go to the museum and just like use the typewriter in the museum? Is she even gonna be able to do that? You can't just touch stuff in the museum. You can't be click-clacking. So is she gonna steal the one in the museum? Like, it just felt like, again, it was sloppy in the way that it was tied together. I don't know how it's going to, like, I'm looking forward to book 2. I hope that, you know, things get cleared up, but the last 1/3, okay, of the book is not as well written as I would have wanted it to, and it just, the cliffhanger was there, but it wasn't as well executed. If you read the book and you kind of understand what I mean, I hope you understand what I mean. I'm sorry if I gave some stuff away through this video. The romance was beautiful. I really wish that it was a new adult book instead of a young adult book, because I felt like the romance and the attraction was there. There was definitely passion like brewing from the page, and I felt like it could have went deeper. Like, it didn't have to be like just smut. It could have been like a romantic spicy scenes, which was kind of part of it. I really love that moment where they wake up and, you know, and he's like, do we have time? And he's just looking at her all nudie, and he's just like, do we have time? It was just like a really like beautiful moment, like just shows how like just magnetized he is by her. But I just felt like it could have just been written better. It could have been executed better. The author's amazing. And this is not to like talk ill on the author or anything. Really love the writing. It's very poetic. I just felt like that last chunk of it could have been better executed. So I hope that y'all understand what I mean. But yeah, this was my reading vlog situation. My reading diary situation. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Let me know what you guys think in the comments if you have read Divine Rivals. I do recommend it. It's a really good book. A lot of people are saying this is the best book they read this year. Mine is still Fourth Wing. I'm sorry. Fourth Wing, I reread already like 20 times. It's so good. But it's, a lot of people also keep comparing it to Fourth Wing, or keep saying you should read it after Fourth Wing, which I guess, but they're two different books, two different paces. Like, Divine Rivals is a slower pace. Both of them are slow burns when it comes to the romance, but they're slower paced. Fourth Wing is a fast paced book. And so different vibes, different things happen, but it isn't rival to lover, enemies to lovers fantasy. I just felt like it could have been executed better. That's what I gotta say. Anyway, looking forward to April. But yeah, those are my thoughts. It's not my favorite book of the year, but it's definitely on the list. It was very enjoyable. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed, you know, this video. I love you guys. Don't forget to subscribe, and I will see y'all in the next video.